Okay, so that was all that theory, and I go, all right, I get the theory. Okay, now I'm suddenly supposed to do the homework, and what? Okay, the problem is there's almost no way to ask questions on the theory if I'm not asking you to prove it or something. So the book tries to think of ways to make it kind of real, and I think in the end they just make it more confusing. But anyway, what's going on? These are the actual homework problems. I give you a little table of 16 numbers like this. Okay, and what I'm pretending is that somewhere, maybe I've asked a question, maybe I found an entire population of 4 people, and I asked all 4 people, hey, how many pairs of athletic shoes do you own? And one of the people says, well, I only own 1 pair. And somebody says 2, and somebody says 3, and somebody says 4. Okay, so that's my population, the entire population. But I don't know that because I haven't done the study yet. And I find someone and I send them outside. Here, go find one of those 4 people who owns athletic shoes. Go and find out how many pairs they own. Okay, and find 2 people and do that. All right, and so I send someone out, and maybe they found the person who has 1, and they asked them, and they said 1. And then they found the person who has 2, and they asked them, and that's the person said 2. So they average those 2 together, and they get 1.5, and they come back and they tell me 1.5. That's them right there. That's what they've just told me, and I write it down. But somebody might accidentally ask the same person twice. Since it's totally random, we have to assume that they could accidentally randomly ask the person with the 1 twice. So they ask someone and they say 1, and then they ask the same someone, so they say 1 again, and then when they average the 2, they get 1 of them. Okay? So this is every combination of the 2 people. And I've already done that part. So on the homework, you already see these 16 numbers because I've already done the part of finding people, sending them out, having them ask, bring back, write that down. Okay, so that I've already done that part. This is like, these are all the little arrows I would have drawn if I was drawing those arrows that I drew in the actual picture of the theory. These are the arrows. They're already there. I've already done that part. Now sitting here trying to do the homework. Okay, get the mean of these numbers. So I take all 16 of these numbers. So I'm getting the mean of the mean. All of these are tiny little means. And I want the mean of the means, which is saying take all 16 numbers, stat, edit, and then you put in 1, enter, 1.5, enter, 2, enter, 2.5, enter, 1.5, enter, 2, enter. You put all 16 numbers into list 1 and then do 1 variable stats on that and see what you get. Okay, so you just let your calculator do the work there. Basically, so the instructions for question number 1 should just say, put this box of numbers in your calculator and do 1 variable stats and write it down. All right, and then question number 2 says, get the mean of all 4 people. So suddenly I'm able to ask the entire population. I run out there, get all their numbers, and come back. So I'm just doing 1 variable stats on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just make a new list, and that list only got 4 in it. 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter. 1 variable stats. Okay, that's the actual mean. So this is the mean of the means, and this is the actual mean. Okay, so you've just put all these numbers in my calculator, did what she said, okay. And then the third question is trying to ask about the theory again. What can you say about the mean of the means versus the actual mean? What can you say about question number 1 compared to question number 2? And they should be the same. That was what that little picture with the bell curve said, is the 2 means the one of the actual population and the bell curve with all those arrows on it. It should be the same. So you should get the same number for questions 1 and 2. All right, then suddenly you find yourself trying to do question number 4, 5, and 6. All right, and now this is a new list of numbers. And what this is, instead of doing standard deviation, which takes a while, and I put it in the notes, but if I just wanted to go out and get the ranges instead, we're pretending range is going to behave a lot like standard deviation because it's kind of it's a measure of how spread out stuff is, but it doesn't take nearly as long to do. And I've done the same thing. I already did the little experiment. Send someone outside, grab 2 people, ask them their numbers, and then come back and tell me the range of those numbers. So maybe this person went outside and they found the person who was a 1, and they found the person that was a 4, and they asked them, and they got 1 and 4, and then they came back, figured out the range all by themselves, 4 minus 1, that's 3, and they gave me a 3 to write down. Okay, so question number 4 says, get the mean of the ranges. So I've already done the ranges for you. All you got to do is put all 16 numbers into your calculator and find out what the mean of those is. That's what question 4 is. Do one variable stats on those 16 numbers. Okay, then get the actual range. Okay, and so basically, I can do the actual range. It's 4 minus 1 is 3. I write down 3. Okay, what can we say about the mean of the ranges versus the actual range? It's sort of like, what can we say about the mean of the standard deviations versus the actual standard deviation? Remember, the standard deviation in that bell curve with all the arrows, the standard deviation on that was smaller. And so it's going to come out the same here. The mean of the ranges is going to come out to be a smaller number than the actual range, because that's what the theory says it has to be. Okay, so that's great. Okay, I finished my 6.3 homework. Do I know anything more about the central limit theorem than I did before? I knew how to do all the homework, but basically central limit theorem is that picture of the bell curves with the arrows on it. That tells you what it says. This is just some sort of contrived way the book is trying to make you do some homework on it. You just do it, you follow along, and then you go to the end and go, okay, whatever.